Welcome to FarmMap4D. In this tutorial, we will be learning how to use and interpret the results from the stocking rate calculator tool. This tool requires several steps to have been completed before it can be successfully run. Firstly, ensure you have created your paddock layer. All paddocks must also have a different name. If you want to check first, just click the Verify Paddocks icon on the Mapping tab, which will quickly bring up all the paddocks which have the same name, allowing you to change the names where appropriate. Second, you must have generated a property-specific land type layer. And third, you must have generated at least one grazing circle / distance from water scenario. These three data sets are prerequisites for the stocking rate calculator. If you have not yet created any of these layers, please see the earlier tutorials. To start, navigate to the Stocking Rate Calculator tab within the toolbar at the top of the screen. This presents three tools which are used to generate a carrying capacity estimate of your property. The first step is to set the typical stocking rate for the land types within your property. Select the Set Stocking Rate tool to open the Stocking Rate editor. Select the units you want to work with. For cattle, use hectares per adult equivalent, or for sheep, use hectares per dry sheep equivalent. Next, determine the number of hectares that are required to carry a single animal unit on each land type, which is in A condition on your property. You can find out more about the ABCD land condition scoring at the Future Beef website, but in general, A condition country remains at 100% of its original carrying capacity. B condition country equates to 75% of its original carrying capacity. C condition country equates to 45% of the original carrying capacity, and D condition country equates to only 20% of its original carrying capacity. Land condition is affected by pasture species, soil surface condition, and tree thickening and weeds. Only the values under the A condition land can be edited, as the discount rates for B, C and D condition are automatically calculated. I've just input some dummy figures here. The completed stocking rate table can be downloaded for later reference. You need to click Save to use this as part of the calculation. If you use the tool again in the future, these figures will be remembered. The second step is setting the default land condition for each grazing circle ring within each paddock on your property. Select the Set Land Condition tool to open the Land Condition editor. In general, land which is closer to a watering point is likely to be in poorer condition as it is more frequently grazed. The default values for these are C for the land closest to the water, B for the land in the middle grazing ring distance, and A for the land in the outer ring distance. But this will vary for each paddock depending on use, grazing intensity, and the size of your grazing circles, and can be fully adjusted by the user. Some paddocks might be uniformly in A condition, others might be uniformly in C condition. If you do not wish to calculate a stocking rate for small paddocks, for example holding paddocks and water squares, you can use an area filter to only display paddocks which are larger than a certain area. Once again, I have input some dummy figures here, and the completed land condition table can be downloaded for later reference. You need to click Save to use this as part of the calculation, and if you use the tool again in the future, these figures will be remembered. We are now ready to undertake our carrying capacity analysis. Click on the Carrying Capacity tool to open a new menu on the left-hand side of the screen. Here you can give your carrying capacity scenario a unique name and select the grazing circle scenario you wish to use. This enables you to explore how carrying capacity differs under different water availability conditions or planned infrastructure developments. Once you have named your carrying capacity scenario and selected your grazing circle scenario, click Next to continue. A second screen allows you to select discount values for each grazing circle distance and beyond. This is to reflect the likely distribution of stock in your grazing circles, starting from closest to water, then as they move further away. If all the land within your grazing circles is grazed evenly, the values would all stay at 1. If the furthest grazing circle was likely to attract only 70% of the stock numbers of the closer grazing circles, lower this distance discount down to 0.7. That is 70% of 1. Finally, select the grazing discount value for the uncovered area, or the area outside your maximum grazing circle / walking distance. If you think stock will stop and not graze past this distance, in this case 3 kilometres, keep the value as 0. If stock occasionally graze here, change the value to 0.1 to represent around 10% of the grazing intensity of the closest distance to water. If you know they will graze past the 3 kilometre distance but only stay there half the time, change the discount value to 0.5. Once you are happy with these values, click Next to continue. This will now calculate carrying capacity values based on each of the inputs defined so far. Once complete, the outputs should automatically appear on the screen. They can also either be turned on or off in your Layers panel, in the Grazing Plan Output group and Paddock Capacity layer. When this layer is on, it shows two drop-down menus at the top right of the screen. The first drop-down menu allows you to display the paddock values for each different carrying capacity scenario that you have created. The values displayed in each paddock represent the number of stock that the paddock can hold based on the inputs provided. The second drop-down menu allows you to view the potential change in carrying capacity under 3 different scenarios. The table that appears on the left shows the stock numbers per paddock calculated for the 3 different scenarios. The table values correspond with the values on the map. The default map view looks at the current conditions for water and land condition on your property. Selecting the A condition current water option changes the display to show the potential change in capacity if land management activities can improve all land in each paddock up to A condition. Selecting the A condition full water option displays the total potential carrying capacity for each paddock if all the paddocks were in A condition and all the areas of the paddocks had relatively equitable access to water. This shows the potential change in capacity from investing in new water infrastructure or management to improve land condition. The relative change between current condition and the A condition full water scenario shows the potential change in each paddock and property. This may help in analysing where to invest time and money in paddock management. These numbers should not be seen as absolute gospel numbers, but as relative guides. They are completely influenced by the assumptions and figures made at the stocking rate and land condition stages of the process, as well as the accuracy of the land type mapping. It is very likely that you will need to adjust the input values several times in order that your calculated stocking rates for current condition approximates your actual on-ground stocking rates. Finally, the figures from this analysis can be downloaded at the bottom of the table on the left side of the map. This will allow you to keep a record of these numbers for later reference, as they won't be shown in table form in the future. The values shown on the actual map layer will be seen if the scenarios are shown in later sessions. This completes the tutorial on the stocking rate calculator tool.